Wife wants a divorce after I failed to support her following a stroke. 2025 has been a nightmare. Family illness, daycare chaos, and extreme burnout. A few weeks ago, my wife had a stroke. I worked my ass off keeping life normal for our toddler and supporting her recovery. When she came home, I took vacation to rest, but she immediately planned a long list of home improvements. Exhausted, I hit a breaking point after a violent bedtime with our toddler, who hit and gouged me. When I told my wife I felt beaten up, she offered cold advice instead of sympathy. This sparked a massive argument where I became defensive and failed to respect her boundaries. This morning, she told me she wants to separate. She says I betrayed her by picking a fight right after her health crisis, especially since she needs surgery next year. She texted me saying I must fix this or it's over, but she won't tell me what she needs. I am barely surviving. I've taken on the bulk of chores and childcare, but I failed at my goal of being the perfect supportive partner. I love her and don't want a divorce, but I'm too tired to know how to repair a heart I broke while I was just trying to stay afloat. How do I fix a marriage when I'm completely burned out and my partner sees my exhaustion as a betrayal? TLDR, after a year of burnout and my wife's recent stroke, I snapped during an argument about our toddler's behavior. My wife now wants a divorce, claiming I betrayed her during her recovery. She says I must fix it, but provides no guidance, and I am too exhausted to function. How do I save my marriage when I have nothing left to give? Wife came out as asexual, wants an open, sexless marriage. My wife, 36F, and I, 35M, have been married for 8 years with one daughter, 6F, but we haven't had sex in over 2 years. Last month, she confessed she believes she is asexual and never actually wanted sex. She only engaged because she thought she had to. This hit hard. She still wants to stay married, co-parent, and maintain our family life, but intimacy is never coming back. Her proposed solution is that I can sleep with other people, provided I am discreet, don't bring anyone home, and don't fall in love. I am struggling to process the idea of having a platonic marriage while sneaking around for physical intimacy. I love my wife. She is a great partner and an amazing mother. We have built a good life together, but I'm only 35. The thought of permanent physical intimacy loss feels impossible. My friends say I should leave, arguing I'm too young for this. My wife insists plenty of couples make this work, but I don't know if I can sign up for a lifetime of a relationship that feels fundamentally broken, or if I am setting myself up for resentment and misery. Do marriages like this, where one partner is asexual and the other is given permission to seek external sex, actually work long-term, or should I walk away and risk shattering my family? TLDR, my wife, 36F, came out as asexual after 8 years of marriage, stating sex is permanently off the table. She wants to stay married and co-parent our daughter, but offered me permission to sleep with other people discreetly. I, 35M, love her, but I don't know if I can accept either a sexless marriage or an open marriage as the solution. I need advice on whether this unconventional setup is sustainable. Should I be honest about my partner's expensive Christmas gift? I, 26F, have been a digital artist for 10 years. For the last 7, I've used an iPad, which I love for its screen and portability. Recently, I mentioned it was starting to show its age. For Christmas, my partner, 25M, surprised me with a high-end Wacom Intuos Pro. The problem? It's a screenless tablet. While expensive and pro, it feels like a massive downgrade to me. I don't like drawing on a surface while looking at a separate monitor. It feels clunky and sluggish. I actually already own an old screenless tablet that I never use, though he doesn't know that. He's the love of my life and was so anxious about picking the right thing. He spent a lot of money to support my hobby, and my heart breaks because I know how much care he put into it. However, since we live together, I can't secretly keep using my iPad, and I don't want to be stuck with a device I'll never use for the next few years. Should I be honest and ask to return it so we can save the money or do something together? Or would telling him it's the wrong tool be too mean and crush his spirit? How do I explain that in the world of art, an expensive upgrade can sometimes be a functional step backward? TLDR, my partner, 25M, gifted me an expensive screenless drawing tablet to replace my aging iPad. It's a pro device, but I hate the experience of drawing without a screen and consider it a downgrade. I want to be honest and return it, but I'm terrified of hurting his feelings after he put so much love and money into the surprise. How do I handle this sensibly? New GF mistaken for my ex multiple times at a Christmas party. I, 29M, have been dating my girlfriend, 27F, for 2 months after breaking up with my ex of 1.5 years in July. We attended a Christmas party with friends of friends I hadn't seen since the breakup, and the night was a disaster. Twice during the night, when I introduced her, people responded with, "Oh, I think we met last year," which is impossible. They were clearly confusing her with my ex. I was so caught off guard that I didn't handle the first instance well, though I corrected the second person. To make matters worse, at the end of the night, a friend mentioned a prediction they wrote a year ago about me getting engaged to my ex. This final comment was incredibly painful for my girlfriend, and we left immediately. While I don't think anyone intended to be cruel, my girlfriend now feels like she's just a replacement or is constantly being compared to my ex. I'm confused why this happens so many times and how to protect her from this erasure of her identity in my social circle. How should I handle these awkward comparisons going forward, and what can I do to make her feel secure and welcome when my friends clearly haven't moved on from my past relationship? TLDR, I, 29M, introduced my new girlfriend, 27F, at a party, but multiple people mistakenly thought they'd met her before, confusing her with my ex. Someone even brought up my past engagement plans with my ex. My girlfriend feels unwelcome and compared to my past. How do I navigate these social blunders and reassure her that she's not just a replacement? Mom stopped speaking to me after I broke her trust, again, over a hidden phone. I am a teenager living at home, and my relationship with my mom has been severely strained for over a month. This is because I broke her rule about social media and secretly kept a second phone, which unfortunately wasn't the first time. I fully accept responsibility for breaking her trust repeatedly. When she found out, she told me not to talk to her and said, "She's not my mom anymore." Since then, she has completely withdrawn. She refuses to make eye contact, ignores me when I speak, and asks my dad or siblings about me instead of talking to me directly. She is warm and normal with everyone else in the house. I have apologized sincerely and tried to show change through my actions, but she ignores my messages. She is also pregnant, which adds significantly to my guilt. My dad, 42M, talks to me normally, but my mom's silence hasn't softened at all. I understand I broke her trust, but I am struggling immensely with the complete isolation. How do I even begin to repair a relationship when the other person refuses all engagement and communication, treating me as if I don't exist? TLDR, I, teenager, repeatedly broke my pregnant mom's social media rules by keeping a hidden phone. She hasn't spoken to me for over a month, ignores me completely, and communicates only through others, while being normal with the rest of the family. I have apologized and tried to show change, but I don't know how to repair the relationship when she won't engage at all. Is my grandma manipulating me? She only shows her dark side to me. I, 23F, have always been my grandma's 81F favorite, but lately, our relationship has become emotionally draining. She has started targeting me with intense negativity and guilt trips that she doesn't show to anyone else. My family recently moved her to a great 55+ community. To everyone else, she beams and says she loves it. The second we are alone, she tells me she hates it and that the stress is going to kill her. I've watched her switch from praising the place on the phone to complaining to me the instant she hangs up. At a recent family birthday, she pulled me aside to whisper, "Please visit. I'm going to die soon. I'm so lonely and no one comes." This is a lie. My siblings visit her weekly, and she attends many community events. I just moved and don't have a car, yet no matter how much I call or visit, it's never enough. I suspected Alzheimer's, but her behavior is so strategic, ensuring no one else hears and acting perfectly happy around my parents, that it feels like calculated emotional manipulation. I love her, but I leave every visit feeling horrible and guilty. Am I overreacting, or is she using our close bond to treat me as her emotional dumping ground? How do I set boundaries with an aging grandparent who refuses to be positive only with me? TLDR, my grandma 81F is selectively negative with me 23F, using guilt trips about dying alone and hating her home only when we are private. To the rest of the family, she is happy and thriving. I am emotionally drained by her constant sadness and lies about being neglected. How do I support her without letting her manipulate my guilt? Is it crazy to break up because he refuses to go to the dentist? I, 29F, have been with my boyfriend, 32M, for 5 years. He is my best friend and cheerleader, but his lack of self-care is becoming a deal breaker. Specifically, his dental hygiene is so poor, with visible calculus buildup, that I've told him I don't want to kiss him until he gets a cleaning. The dentist is literally next door to our apartment. For months, he's been saying, "I'll go soon," but he never does. It's reached a point where I am losing physical attraction because I feel like I'm nagging him to perform basic health maintenance. It's not just his teeth, his diet consists almost entirely of instant junk food. I've offered to cook healthy meals since I get home earlier, but he isn't interested. I'm not a clean freak myself, but I care about long-term health, and watching someone I love neglect their body is painful and exhausting. I don't want to change him or mother him, but I also can't force myself to be intimate with someone who ignores basic hygiene and health boundaries I've clearly communicated. Is it crazy or shallow to end a long-term, otherwise happy relationship over a refusal to go to the dentist and eat better? How do I set a final boundary without becoming his parent? TLDR, my boyfriend, 32M, of 5 years is wonderful but refuses to address his poor dental hygiene and junk food diet. I, 29F, have stopped kissing him due to dental buildup, but he still won't go to the dentist next door. I feel like I'm turning into his mother and losing attraction. Is this a valid reason to break up, or am I being too harsh? I hid my girlfriend's perfect anniversary gift so well, I lost it inside our house, then lied. My girlfriend, 26F, is incredibly thoughtful, while I, 27M, am extremely disorganized and forgetful. To nail our 3-year anniversary, I planned 2 months ahead and bought the perfect gift, a rare, first edition copy of her favorite book, The Princess Bride. I was so proud of myself that I immediately hid the book in a safe place inside our apartment to prevent her from finding it early. Yesterday was our anniversary. She gave me a beautiful engraved watch. When it was my turn, I went to retrieve the book and my mind went blank. I frantically searched everywhere, the closet, under the bed, even the freezer, but the book was gone. In a panic, I returned and lied, telling her the gift was ordered from overseas and was delayed due to a shipping issue. She was understanding, but now I feel like absolute human garbage and a liar. I now have a week to find where I hid that book before my lie about a delayed shipment is exposed. This level of disorganization is starting to severely affect my relationship, making me look like I don't care when the opposite is true. Should I come clean now and confess that I lost her gift inside the house due to my disorganization, or use the entire week to tear the apartment apart trying to find it? How do I explain my chaotic brain without making her feel unloved? TLDR, I, 27M, bought a rare book for my girlfriend's anniversary 2 months ago, but hid it so well inside our apartment that I completely forgot where I put it. I panicked on the day and lied, claiming the gift was delayed in shipping. Now I have a week to find the missing book before I'm exposed as a liar. I need advice on whether to confess my disorganization or continue searching, and how to explain my forgetfulness without damaging our relationship. I changed my career for us, but my GF, 30F, isn't matching my effort. My girlfriend, 30F, and I, 29M, have been together for 3 years. After a rough patch where we felt ourselves drifting, we both committed to putting in more effort. I took immediate action. I organized dates, supported her career, and even found a new job with no travel just to see her more. However, I don't see that same commitment from her. She's happy with the plans I make, but she hasn't initiated anything. Recently, I planned a cozy date night with dinner and a movie. When I picked her up from her friends, she had already eaten, was too drunk to participate, and went to bed after 30 minutes. Beyond that, there's no movement on basic things. She won't adjust a gym session so we can go together, and she avoids staying over if the drive is slightly longer. I feel like I'm chasing a lost cause with everything I've got. She experienced psychological abuse in a past relationship, and I wonder if her lack of effort is a subconscious self-defense mechanism rather than a lack of love. I don't want to blame her for her trauma, but the mental weight of this one-sided effort is crushing me. Am I being unreasonable, or is it fair to expect more action after months of talk? How do I address this without making her feel attacked or triggered by her past? TLDR, after agreeing to work on our relationship, I, 29M, changed my job and life to prioritize us, but my girlfriend, 30F, hasn't made any changes. She enjoys my effort, but initiates nothing and often brushes past our plans. I suspect her past trauma plays a role, but I feel like I'm the only one trying. Am I overthinking, or is our relationship becoming one-sided? Hurt by fiancé's comments about my curly hair. I, 22F, have naturally curly hair, 3B, and it took me a long time to accept and love it, which my fiancé, 25M, knows. Recently, his repeated comments about my hair have made me deeply insecure. First, when a friend's wife expressed surprise he was with someone with curly hair, he laughed and replied, "Well, she can always straighten it, so I kind of have both." He knows I never straighten it due to the damage. He didn't defend me or affirm my natural hair. Later, he openly stated he hopes his future children will have straight hair because he thinks straight hair is prettier. This made me feel like my natural features are undesirable. In both instances, his response framed my hair as something temporary or less beautiful than the alternative. When I explained how much these comments hurt, he dismissed me, calling it a mere preference and saying I was being way too sensitive. Although he eventually apologized and now over-compliments my hair, I feel the damage is done and the compliments feel fake. I used to feel incredibly confident about my curls, but now I'm constantly critical of my hair and feel jealous of women with straight hair. Are comments like this simply about superficial preference, or do they signal a deeper issue regarding emotional acceptance and respect for a partner's identity, especially when they cause such intense insecurity? TLDR, my fiancé, 25M, repeatedly made comments preferring straight hair, including wishing our future children would have straight hair, rather than affirming my natural curly hair. When I expressed hurt, he called me too sensitive. Although he eventually apologized, his comments have made me deeply insecure and self-critical about the natural feature I was once most confident about. I need to know if this signals deep incompatibility. How do I tell my GF, 20F, she smells bad without ruining the relationship? I, 21M, have been in my first relationship for a couple of months. My girlfriend, 20F, is wonderful, but she has a habit that is becoming a massive deal breaker. She only showers twice a week. We live in a very hot climate, and the resulting body odor is so strong it almost makes me gag. She justifies the lack of hygiene because she takes web-based classes and stays home most of the day. However, it has reached a point where I am physically uncomfortable being near her. I find myself avoiding cuddles, intimacy, and even sitting close to her because of the smell. I feel it's unfair to expect me to tolerate this just to avoid hurting her feelings, especially since it's starting to kill my attraction to her. I know this conversation will be incredibly awkward, but avoiding it is clearly damaging our relationship. How do I bring this up in a way that is kind, but makes her realize that daily hygiene is a non-negotiable requirement for me to feel comfortable and intimate? Is there a way to say you smell without causing a permanent rift in a new relationship? TLDR, my girlfriend, 20F, only showers twice a week despite living in a hot climate. Her body odor is so strong I, 21M, struggle to be physically close to her. She thinks staying home for online classes justifies it, but I'm losing attraction. How do I tell her she needs to shower more frequently without being cruel or gagging? GF, 29F, got sponsored backcountry skiing trip invite, but can barely ski green runs. I, 34M, live in the mountains. My girlfriend, 29F, recently moved in and started learning to ski, as winter social life here requires it. She can manage the easiest green runs, but often struggles and sometimes nearly cries after just 1 or 2 runs. Through Instagram posts, she was invited to a sponsored backcountry skiing trip for women. When asked about her skills, she replied, "Yes, but not that well." In our area, this phrase implies advanced, modest proficiency, not her beginner status. She refuses to believe this miscommunication. I am terrified because backcountry skiing takes place in remote, unmaintained areas, requiring skills far beyond her current ability, at least 2 to 3 seasons out of her league. Getting stuck in the backcountry means a dangerous, necessary rescue, not simply walking down. I am not trying to hold her back, but I am genuinely afraid this trip will end in a dangerous disaster due to her low skill level and her refusal to be honest about it with the sponsors or me. What should I do? How can I convince her of the severe, non-negotiable dangers of backcountry skiing at her current skill level without making her feel unsupported? TLDR, my girlfriend, 29F, can barely manage easy resort ski runs, sometimes crying after 1 run, but she accepted an invite to a sponsored, remote backcountry skiing trip after misleadingly minimizing her low skill level. I, 34M, know this is dangerously beyond her ability and could lead to a necessary rescue. How do I convince her of the serious danger without damaging our relationship? Getting over cheating. How do I stop the random waves of sadness? My husband, 29M, cheated on me, 27F, 6 months ago. It was a complete shock, as I believed he was the picture of loyalty. It was a one-time physical incident with a coworker. He confessed immediately, no longer works with her, and deeply regrets it. We were on the brink of divorce, but he has spent every day since making amends, and we are finally in a really good place. The struggle now is internal, out of nowhere. Often when I'm reflecting on how well things are going, my brain attacks with, "But remember when he cheated on you?" I suddenly fall into a deep, painful sadness that derails my whole day. I know I want to stay, and I know time is supposed to heal this, but I don't know how to stop these intrusive thoughts and waves of sadness. I am looking for advice from people who have successfully navigated staying after infidelity. How did you manage to quiet the memory of the betrayal and overcome the random sadness that creeps in, allowing you to trust the reconciliation? TLDR, my husband, 29M, cheated 6 months ago, confessed immediately, and we have successfully reconciled. We are now in a very good place, but I, 27F, constantly struggle with sudden, painful, intrusive thoughts about the betrayal that make me fall into deep sadness. I need advice on how to manage these lingering feelings and fully heal from the infidelity. Expected to be a stay-at-home wife, but have to fund it myself. I, 36F, am a stay-at-home mother to our 3.5-year-old and have a second baby due soon. My high-earning partner, 39M, insists I stay home, but he refuses to financially support this choice. Instead of covering our family's bills, his debt has grown from $10,000 to $25,000 due to frivolous spending. I am continually draining my substantial investment account to pay for my personal bills, partial family expenses, and the majority of our children's costs. He recently complained I am not doing enough stay-at-home wifey duties, cleaning/cooking, even though I manage the majority of childcare and half the chores. I told him that if he wants a stay-at-home parent, he must financially afford it by covering most family expenses. Since he won't increase his contribution, I refuse to take on all the extra chores he demands. I feel taken advantage of and used as a source of money so he can maintain his lifestyle. Should I concede the extra chores or hold out until he steps up financially to support the choice he demands? TLDR, my high-earning fiancé, 39M, demands I, 36F, be a stay-at-home wife/mom, but uses my investment account to fund my stay-at-home status, while he spends frivolously and increases his debt. He demands more chores, but refuses to cover more family expenses. I need advice on whether I should do the extra chores or refuse until he steps up financially. Dad gets furious when I sleep past noon after working overnights. I, 22M, recently started my first overnight job, which means I get home around 8:30 a.m. and immediately go to sleep. However, my dad, 54M, consistently throws fits if I sleep past noon. If I'm asleep past 12 p.m., he enters my room yelling at me to get out of bed. When I ask why he woke me up, his reason is simply because it's 12:30 in the afternoon. I don't mind helping if he genuinely needs me for a chore, but most of the time, I am forced to sit around the house doing nothing, completely exhausted and wishing I could go back to sleep. I cannot function properly at work on 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I am actively saving to move out, but I can't afford it yet. I need advice on how to handle this situation. How am I supposed to secure enough sleep to maintain a highly demanding overnight job when my father refuses to respect my schedule, believing that daytime sleep is inherently wrong? TLDR, I, 22M, work overnight shifts, but my dad, 54M, refuses to let me sleep past noon, yelling at me to get out of bed simply because it's the afternoon. This prevents me from getting the required sleep to function at my job. I need advice on how to get him to respect my essential daytime sleep schedule while I save money to move out. Boyfriend's extreme slowness disrupts my day. Is this grounds for a breakup? My boyfriend, 40M, and I, 38F, have an ongoing issue where his extreme slowness, especially driving, disrupts our lives and leaves me carrying the entire domestic load. He is nervous and overly cautious behind the wheel, making simple errands take twice as long as they should. When he runs 2 or 3 errands, he's gone all afternoon. This means his day might involve grabbing 2 groceries and doing a few dishes, while my day includes mopping, vacuuming, 3 loads of laundry, making dinner, walking the dogs, and cleaning the bathroom. I feel like I am left doing absolutely everything because he can't complete simple tasks in a reasonable time frame. When I express frustration, especially if he's delayed fetching a last-minute dinner ingredient, he dismisses me, claiming I am rushing and too impatient. He insists he is the only correct one on the road and everyone else is unsafe or too fast. He absolutely does not care how this impacts my schedule or workload. I am at my wit's end. I cannot envision a functional future with him if I am permanently left carrying the entire weight of our shared life, because I cannot rely on him for basic efficiency. Am I crazy for considering ending our relationship over this pervasive, dismissive slowness? How can I approach this issue so he acknowledges the tangible impact on our shared life and workload, rather than just blaming my impatience? TLDR, my boyfriend, 40M, is an incredibly slow driver and meanders through errands, causing simple tasks to consume entire afternoons. He dismisses my frustration, saying I, 38F, am too impatient and that he's being safe. This leaves me doing 90% of the household chores and running out of time. I feel I can't build a functional life with this constant slowness and dismissal. Is it reasonable to end the relationship over this, and how do I make him understand the impact? Boyfriend joking about stalking and stabbing me when I discuss breaking up. My 18F, 3-year relationship with my boyfriend, 19M, has become toxic, filled with constant arguments and my deep resentment over past betrayals, like hiding a female contact. I am seriously considering leaving him, even though he promises change. This past weekend, when I discussed ending the relationship, his reaction was extremely unsettling. He repeatedly joked about stalking me and hurting me, specifically saying he would stab me. He also pretended to grab the scissors from my drawer, despite my obvious discomfort. Although he claims he was only joking and wasn't angry, his behavior made me feel genuinely unsafe. I even hid the scissors because I was so scared. I have repeatedly told him that I do not like jokes about violence, as this is a very real danger for people. Yet, he continues to dismiss my feelings and boundaries. His response to the idea of a breakup is not maturity, but disturbing threats disguised as humor. I feel alone and need advice. Is this threatening behavior something I should dismiss as a dark joke, or is this a major red flag and an indicator that I should leave him immediately for my own safety? TLDR, my toxic 3-year relationship is ending, but when I, 18F, brought up breaking up, my boyfriend, 19M, started joking about stalking and stabbing me. He dismisses my expressed discomfort and fear as me being dramatic. This behavior is extremely unsettling and made me feel unsafe. I need advice on whether these are serious red flags I must act on. BF thinks New Year's isn't for couples and mentions strip clubs. My boyfriend, 25M, and I, 28F, have been together for a year. When I told him I wanted to spend New Year's Eve with him, he challenged me, asking why I think it's a couple's holiday. He insists it's strictly for friends, and that he has always chosen the boys over his past 3 girlfriends. He claims the New Year's kiss is just forced propaganda, and that since he sees me every day, he doesn't need to spend that night with me. Alarmingly, he mentioned that sometimes the boys want to do activities where a girlfriend shouldn't be involved, like going to a strip club. He even admitted that he lost respect for his last ex and broke up with her because she yelled at him for not spending the holiday with her, claiming she didn't value his feelings. While he is usually kind, he consistently chooses his out-of-town friends for every major holiday like Halloween and the 4th of July. I feel like he genuinely doesn't understand why I value this milestone. Am I being unreasonable for wanting to be his priority on New Year's, or is his ideology and mention of strip clubs a sign of deeper immaturity and lack of respect for our relationship? TLDR, my boyfriend, 25M, refuses to spend New Year's with me, 28F, claiming it's a holiday for friends, not couples. He called the New Year's kiss propaganda and mentioned wanting to go to strip clubs with his friends instead. He has broken up with exes over this same conflict. How do I explain the importance of this milestone without him feeling like I'm controlling him like his exes? BF quit job to pursue startups, but his ideas are easily replicated by ChatGPT. My boyfriend, 28M, recently quit his well-paid software job to pursue full-time startups, something he's been doing on the side for 4 years. Financially, we are stable with good savings, no debt, and I still have my job, so a few months off is not an issue. My problem is his track record. His business ideas are consistently poor. They're either oversaturated or offer minimal difference from well-established products. For example, he built an AI ad writing product based on ChatGPT. When I asked why people would pay for it when ChatGPT is free, he argued his product offers specific editing features. I immediately demonstrated that ChatGPT already provides those same features, and he just walked away. He uses ChatGPT as the basis for most ideas, showing a lack of original market insight. He genuinely hates the 9 to 5 life and desperately wants a successful business. I keep shutting down his ideas because they are technically weak, which makes me feel unsupportive and like a downer, even though I supported his few good ideas, which he quickly abandoned. While there is no immediate harm in him trying, I secretly doubt his chances of success. I don't know how to navigate being supportive of his ambition while having serious technical doubts about his execution and business sense. For those who have been through this, how do I balance supporting his dream with constructively addressing the lack of market viability in his ideas? TLDR, my boyfriend, 28M, quit his job to pursue startups, but his ideas are consistently weak, easily replicable, and often just slightly modified ChatGPT features. Financial stress is minimal, but I doubt his chances of success and feel terrible constantly shutting down his ideas. How do I support his entrepreneurial spirit while getting him to develop viable, original products? BF dismisses handmade advent calendar, doesn't see why I'm upset. I, 31F, spent several weeks hand-making an elaborate advent calendar for my boyfriend, 31M, filling 25 individual mini bags with sentimental, thoughtful gifts, custom vouchers, mini photos of us, jokes, badges, and personalized songs. I loved making it, so the time commitment was worthwhile. However, I am deeply hurt because he stopped opening it on day 6. It is now day 16. He works mostly from home, but claims he is too busy and plans to open everything at once after Christmas. He also hasn't listened to the songs from the bags he did open. When I expressed my disappointment, he completely dismissed my feelings, saying he doesn't get why it's a problem and that I shouldn't tell him how or when to open his gift. This makes me feel like the intense thought and effort I put into the calendar was meaningless. How can I constructively communicate to him that this is not about controlling the gift, but about the profound emotional meaning and effort behind a sentimental, handmade present, and why his dismissal of the daily ritual makes me feel unseen? TLDR, I, 31F, handmade a highly sentimental advent calendar for my boyfriend, 31M, which took weeks of effort. He stopped opening it after day 6, claiming he's too busy and plans to open it all after Christmas. He dismissed my hurt feelings, saying I shouldn't tell him how to open his gift. How do I explain that his complete dismissal negates the sentimental meaning of a handmade gift? BF 20M stopped intimacy after I saw him have an epileptic seizure. My boyfriend 20M and I, 19F, have been together for 2 years and usually have a very active sex life. He has epilepsy, and 2 weeks ago, he had a seizure while we were watching TV. It was the first time I witnessed it. I stayed calm, got him to the floor safely, and called an ambulance. He is physically fine now, but our intimacy has vanished. Every time I initiate, he becomes nervous, makes excuses, or withdraws. He's still loving and attentive, but he won't even take his shirt off around me. His best friend confided in me that my BF feels broken and insecure because I saw him lose control of his body. He's terrified that witnessing the seizure made me lose attraction to him. Recently, he was willing to perform on me, but he completely rejected any advances for me to touch him or see him. It's like he's trying to please me to keep me, but is too ashamed to let me see him in a sexual light. I love him and want him just as much as before. How can I prove to him that seeing his seizure didn't change how I feel or how much I desire him? How do I help him regain his confidence and stop feeling embarrassed about a medical condition he can't control? TLDR, my boyfriend, 20M, had a seizure in front of me, 19F, for the first time. Since then, he has been too embarrassed to be intimate, fearing I find him unattractive or broken after seeing him lose control of his body. He will perform on me but won't let me touch or see him shirtless. I need advice on how to reassure him that I still want him just as much as ever.